The Peace Prize recipients are named by Norway's Nobel Committee, and we are honored to speak to the chair of that committee, who joins us on France 24, Berit Reiss-Andersen. Thank you so much for joining us here on France 24. Can you just start by telling us why you chose this group of recipients this year?
Because we wanted to highlight the importance of civil society and civil society that promotes exactly democracy, human rights, and rule of law. And there is, of course, no coincidence that we chose representatives from exactly this region. Ukraine and Russia are at war. In spite of that, both countries have rights organizations that fight for the same values. And with the prize to the laureates, we really wanted to highlight the importance of the activities of an individual who has the courage over many years to stand up against power. And these kind of activities, we believe, is a corrective to power and may influence development in a positive direction.
And you have been very clear about how these prizes were awarded very much in response to what's happening in Ukraine. Is that a particularly strong political stance for the Nobel Committee to be making?
Well, the response to what is happening in Ukraine is because there is a war going on. And we are handing out a peace prize, and it is our mandate to honor efforts that are in the past year have influenced most on peace. Now, the ongoing war is analyzed very much in the aspect of military developments, which is natural. But what we wanted to highlight is the importance exactly of courageous people, representatives of civil society, to influence development, to prevent these kinds of atrocities, but also hopefully being the most efficient instrument, as the situation is today, to stop war.
And can you talk more in that case about the actions that this individual and these two groups have been taking in the midst of the war in Ukraine? Can you highlight some of what they've been doing during this war?
Well, Memorial is an organization with deep roots back to Soviet Union, and they have been steady on the same activity for more than 40 years on documenting atrocities historically, all from Stalin's atrocities and up to present day. They have been closed down by Russian authorities, and the goal of the organization is exactly to be the memory of the nation, to document atrocities, to prevent them happening again. This is also a similar rationale behind the International Criminal Court. The Ukrainian organization has promoted general values that can strengthen Ukrainian democracy, but shifted its attention when war broke out and have been very active in documenting war crimes against civilian population in Ukraine on the ground.
And have you been able to speak to any of the recipients, particularly Ales Bialiatski, who is in prison, since giving them this award?
We do not know if Ales Bialiatski has been made aware of that he is a recipient of the Peace Prize this year, but we have been able to get in touch with his wife. It was a very touching conversation. She was deeply moved and very grateful.
And do you have hope that the award is going to change anything for him and for his situation?
I have made an appeal today to Belarusian authorities to release him so he can come to Oslo and receive his share of the award. It is not exactly a compliment to a regime to keep imprisoned a recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize.
And it is a coincidence, but this announcement does fall on the birthday of Vladimir Putin. The Nobel Committee has, said that the prize is in favor of rather than against anyone. But are you concerned about how Vladimir Putin or the Belarusian leader might react to these nominations, these prizes?
Well, first of all, I want to assure you that we were not aware of Vladimir Putin's birthday exactly today when we made the decision on the prize. We do give a prize where we favor the activities that we believe can be contribution to peace. Such contribution to peace may be understood as a criticism against a nation that has been defined as an aggressor in an ongoing war. But what we reward and what we highlight is the importance of civil society to prevent war and finally to end war.
The committee has made some choices in the past that turned out to be problematic. Most recently, the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who won in 2019. That was before launching the war in Tigray. Since then, you yourself have even criticized him and urged him to end that war. Do you regret honoring him with the prize?
I still believe that when we awarded the prize, Abiy Ahmed was a worthy recipient of the prize. And if you study the situation in Ethiopia and our reasons for awarding the prize, he had already made radical changes in democratic direction, released political prisoners, and he was the new hope after an autocratic regime. It is a risk the Nobel Peace Prize always takes, that we cannot entirely control what our laureates do in the future. And this is not our responsibility either. We reward the prize based on the situation in the moment when the prize was awarded.
Every year when we talk about the Nobel Prizes, the question of diversity also comes up because the prize winners are overwhelmingly male and tend to be white and Western as well. The Peace Prize has been somewhat of an exception to that, particularly in recent years. But I'm wondering what your thoughts are on diversity among the recipients and if that's something that the committee thinks about.
What the committee takes into consideration are the terms of the will of Alfred Nobel, where it is our duty to give the prize to the person who have contributed most significantly to peace in the past year. And that is what we consider.
All right, Berit Reiss-Andersen, thank you so much for speaking to France 24 today and taking the time. We really appreciate it. That's Berit Reiss-Andersen, the chair of Norway's Nobel Committee that awards the Nobel Peace Prize.